Have you ever wondered why the most ruthless people always rise, while the kind-hearted get forgotten? Why fairness rarely wins and manipulation often does? Today, we unmask the truth that society hides. You have been taught to play fair in a world ruled by the ruthless. You've been told your whole life to play fair, to treat others with honesty, to stay kind, to do the right thing. Society has drilled it into you that fairness is noble, that being good guarantees reward. But tell me this, where has that gotten you? Look around, the world doesn't crown the fair, it crowns the strategic. The ones who understand that fairness is not a law of nature, it's a human illusion. A weapon disguised as morality. Machiavelli knew this centuries ago. He watched kings fall, generals crumble, and nations burn, all because they believed in the myth of fairness. He understood that morality is not universal truth. It's a tool of control. The weak use it to defend themselves. The powerful use it to justify their actions. But the wise know that fairness is flexible. It bends, it shifts, it serves whoever can wield it best. You see, the concept of playing fair was never designed to make you powerful. It was designed to make you predictable. When you follow the rules blindly, others know exactly what you'll do next. They know you'll hesitate before taking advantage. They know you'll forgive when they betray you. They know you'll wait for justice instead of creating it. And in that hesitation, they win. Machiavelli would whisper to you now, stop waiting for fairness to protect you. It never will. The world doesn't owe you balance. It owes you nothing. Those who rise understand that morality is situational. Fairness should serve your goals, not chain your ambition. When it benefits you to play by the rules, do so. But when those same rules suffocate your progress, break them without hesitation. Because fairness only matters to those who have the luxury to lose. In politics, in business, even in love, fairness is a currency of the naive. The ruthless don't trade in fairness, they trade in results. They understand that the appearance of fairness can be more powerful than fairness itself. If people believe you are just, you gain trust. And trust is leverage. But you don't need to be fair only to appear so. That is how power sustains itself, through perception, not purity. And let's be honest, how many times have you watched the dishonest thrive, the manipulative rise, the ones who cut corners, who twist the rules, who smile while taking what they want? You call them evil, Machiavelli called them effective, because the world rewards those who understand the game, not those who pretend the game doesn't exist. Machiavelli wrote that men are so simple and so obedient to necessity that he who deceives will always find someone who will let himself be deceived. What he meant was simple. The world runs on need, not fairness. People will lie to survive, cheat to succeed, and manipulate to win. The ones who cling to morality while others wield it as a weapon, they become victims of their own virtue. You don't need to abandon your ethics, but you must learn to master them. Use fairness strategically. Appear generous when it earns loyalty. Act merciful when it earns control. Play fair when it wins trust. But when fairness becomes a trap, when the game turns against you, when the rules are written to keep you small, rewrite them. Because the powerful never play fair. They play smart. That is the first lesson in Machiavelli's darker truth. Fairness is not a virtue. It is a mask, and those who wear it without understanding its purpose will always be ruled by those who don't. Power rarely belongs to those who are truly good. It belongs to those who seem good. The ones who wear virtue like a mask, convincing, flawless, untouchable. You see, Machiavelli understood something that most people refuse to accept. The world judges by appearances, not intentions. People don't see your heart, They see your image. They don't care what you truly are. They care what you seem to be. And that, right there, is where power begins. In the courts of Florence, surrounded by deception and betrayal, Machiavelli watched men fall not because they were evil, but because they were honest. He realized that truth, unfiltered and raw, is dangerous. People say they want honesty, but what they really want is comfort. They crave reassurance, not reality. And so, the wise man learns to wear the mask that society expects of him, not because he is fake, but because he understands the theater of human nature. Machiavelli wrote, "It is unnecessary to have all the good qualities, but very necessary to appear to have them." He wasn't praising hypocrisy. He was describing survival. To appear kind when you are calculating, to seem merciful when you are strategic, to look humble while you plot your ascent. This is not deceit for the sake of evil. It is protection. Because the world attacks those who show their power openly, but it bows to those who conceal it behind grace. Think about it. The most dangerous individuals in history didn't announce their intentions. They concealed them behind charm. The greatest leaders smiled while planning conquest. The most persuasive minds built empires with soft words and clean hands, while others did their bidding. To the crowd they looked virtuous, but underneath every move was deliberate. Every word calculated. Every gesture controlled. The mask of virtue is not about lying, it's about controlling perception. And perception, in the Machiavellian world, is reality. When people believe you are righteous, they let down their guard. They trust you, they confide in you, they underestimate you. And that is when the mask becomes your weapon. Behind it, you can maneuver, manipulate, and move without suspicion. You become the actor who writes his own script, while others play their roles blindly. But here's the irony. The world despises open ambition. It fears those who admit their hunger for power. So, to survive, you must hide it beneath good intentions. Smile when you want to strike. Compliment when you want to conquer. Pretend to yield when you plan to rule. People will adore you for your virtue, while they walk willingly into your design. And this is where most fail. They confuse authenticity with transparency. Machiavelli would tell you, never show your full self to anyone. Keep your true motives buried beneath layers of virtue. The mask protects you from envy, from betrayal, from the judgment of those who cannot see beyond their moral illusions. You control what they see, therefore, you control what they believe. Every powerful person wears this mask. Some know it, others don't. The naive think they are being admired for their goodness, when in truth, they are being used for their predictability. The intelligent, however, craft their image deliberately. They cultivate the illusion of virtue like an artist shaping marble, not to deceive the world cruelly, but to command it silently. And here lies the darker brilliance of Machiavelli's lesson. The mask of virtue doesn't just protect you, it gives you leverage. Because when people see you as good, they will defend you, follow you, even die for you, never realizing that the image they love is the one you chose to give them. Power is not built on kindness, it is built on control. And control, Machiavelli believed, is born from a delicate balance between fear and respect. He studied rulers who ruled with compassion and watched their empires fall. He saw tyrants who ruled with cruelty and watched their people revolt. And through this chaos, he found a brutal truth, that being loved is fragile, but being feared is stable. Love depends on others, fear depends only on you. Machiavelli wrote that it is much safer to be feared than loved if one must choose. Not because love has no value, but because love is conditional. People love you as long as you serve their needs, as long as you make them feel safe, as long as your presence benefits them. But the moment your strength fades or your usefulness ends, that love turns to dust. Fear, however, commands a deeper instinct. Fear roots itself in survival. People respect what they fear losing, and they obey what they dare not challenge. You must understand, fear is not hatred. Fear, when wielded with wisdom, is structure. It creates order. It makes people careful with their words, cautious with their choices. A leader who is respected through fear commands attention without raising his voice. He doesn't need to beg for loyalty. His presence demands it. The air changes when he walks into a room because people know there are consequences for betrayal. Machiavelli saw that those who rely on love alone are slaves to affection. They must constantly please others, prove themselves, maintain an image of goodness that others approve of. But a ruler who earns fear through strength never has to beg for validation. His authority exists without negotiation. Fear makes loyalty consistent. Love makes it unstable. When times are good, people follow the loved ruler. When chaos begins, they abandon him. But the one who inspires fear is followed even when storms rage, because people value their own safety above their sentiment. Now, many misunderstand this principle. They think Machiavelli advocated for cruelty, but he did not. He warned against needless violence. True power is not about harming others. It's about commanding them without lifting a hand. It's the ability to make your silence louder than their words, to create a sense of awe so strong that people discipline themselves in your presence. Fear should not be terror. It should be reverence. It should make others think twice before crossing you, but never drive them to hate you. Machiavelli taught that the perfect balance lies in respectful fear. People should believe that you are capable of punishment, but wise enough to use it sparingly. That unpredictability keeps them loyal. They don't know when or how you'll respond, only that you will. And that uncertainty becomes your power, because when others cannot predict your limits, they stop testing them. In every realm, politics, leadership, even personal life, this dynamic repeats. The person who seeks only to be loved becomes dependent on approval. They bend to the moods of others, terrified of rejection. But the one who cultivates quiet authority, the one who allows a hint of danger beneath his composure, never needs to chase respect. It follows him. It lingers in the room after he leaves. Machiavelli would tell you this. Love makes you likable, but fear makes you untouchable. A loved leader can be betrayed. A feared one rarely is, because love can fade, but fear, when forged through respect and strength, endures. Ruthlessness, the word itself makes people uncomfortable. They imagine cold, blooded tyrants, merciless killers, and cruel rulers. But Machiavelli saw something far more intelligent beneath the word. To him, ruthlessness was not savagery. It was clarity. It was the ability to separate emotion from necessity, to act not out of anger or hatred, but out of reason and precision. It was the art of doing what must be done, even when it feels unbearable. Because in the game of power, hesitation is death, and mercy at the wrong time can destroy everything you've built. He watched countless leaders crumble because they could not make the hard choice. They spared those who should have been removed. They forgave enemies who later turned against them. They acted out of compassion when the moment demanded control. Machiavelli understood that true power demands discipline of the mind, the strength to silence emotion when strategy calls for action. Ruthlessness, in its purest form, is not cruelty. It is focus. It is the removal of weakness disguised as virtue. He warned that indecision is more dangerous than brutality. The man who acts too late is already defeated. A single act of necessary ruthlessness can prevent years of chaos, but a single act of misplaced mercy can invite betrayal, rebellion, and ruin. The ruler who wishes to keep peace must sometimes use force, not because he enjoys it, but because peace itself cannot exist without the shadow of fear. It's a balance, the lion and the fox, strength and cunning. Power without conscience becomes tyranny, but conscience without power becomes self-destruction. Ruthlessness is the bridge between the two. It's not about destroying others. It's about eliminating threats before they destroy you. It's the awareness that some doors must be closed forever, that some alliances must be cut clean, that some people cannot be negotiated with. Machiavelli would tell you, when you strike, strike decisively. Do not wound what you must kill. Do not threaten what you will not punish. Because half measures breed resentment, and resentment grows into rebellion. When the time for action comes, act so completely that no one dares challenge you again. This is the strategy of ruthlessness, clarity without cruelty. It demands emotional detachment. It means seeing the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. The compassionate man hesitates, hoping the world will reward his kindness. The ruthless man acts, knowing the world rewards results. And yet, the irony is that his ruthlessness often protects more people than kindness ever could. Because swift, decisive action ends conflict faster than endless mercy ever will. A clean cut heals, a slow one festers. In every field of power, this truth remains. The successful are not heartless, they are disciplined. They remove what weakens them. They cut ties that no longer serve their goals. They make the decisions others are too afraid to make. They understand that sentiment is beautiful, but timing is everything. The one who lets emotion rule his reason will always become a pawn in someone else's strategy. But the one who can look beyond comfort, who can act from logic instead of feeling, becomes unstoppable. Ruthlessness is not the destruction of empathy, it's the mastery of it, knowing when to show warmth and when to withdraw it, knowing when to heal and when to end. It's emotional control disguised as strength. It's the quiet understanding that not every battle needs mercy, and not every opponent deserves forgiveness. Sometimes the only path to lasting peace is through decisive power. Machiavelli knew that those who act with calculated ruthlessness may be feared in the moment, but they are remembered as the ones who built empires, not those who begged for fairness. And now you see the truth that most will never dare to face. The world does not reward goodness, it rewards strategy. It does not protect the fair, it protects the aware. You have been raised to believe that kindness guarantees safety, that honesty ensures success, that playing fair wins the game. But Machiavelli tore that illusion apart centuries ago. He revealed the dark architecture beneath human behavior, the cold, undeniable truth that power belongs to those who understand its language. Fairness is not a virtue, it is a weapon that must be wielded, not worshipped. Virtue itself is not purity, it is a mask, a performance that conceals the engine of survival. Fear, when earned through respect, is the most stable foundation of control. And ruthlessness, not cruelty, but strategic detachment, is the discipline that separates rulers from the ruled. This is not about becoming evil. It is about awakening from the moral illusion that keeps most people powerless. Machiavelli never glorified cruelty, he glorified understanding. He taught that to navigate a corrupt world, you must first see it as it truly is. You must stop expecting fairness from predators. You must stop apologizing for ambition. You must stop mistaking weakness for virtue. Power is not given, it is taken. Influence is not offered, it is built. The world bends not to those who deserve it, but to those who dare to command it. And that is the essence of Machiavellian wisdom, to master the game, not to be mastered by it. So if you wish to rise, if you wish to command your fate instead of serving another's. Then learn from the shadows of history. Use fairness when it serves you. Wear virtue like armor. Lead with respect, not fear, but let the world know what happens when that respect is betrayed. And when the time comes to act, act completely, without hesitation, without regret. Because in the end, it is not the fair who write history. It is the ruthless, the calm, the calculated, the ones who understand that morality is a luxury of the powerful. Machiavelli's voice still whispers through the ages. The world is not kind, but it can be conquered. And only those who stop playing fair will ever learn how.